Guest here today.
Okay.
Y'all didn't know. His name is Reginald Scotty Page.
Yeah.
And he's the founder and CEO,
Yes.
CEO of RocWitMe Incorporated. And RocWitMe Incorporated is a non-profit organization founded in May 2019 by Scotty Page. Scotty is a native of Wilmington, North Carolina, where my wife was born, now residing in New York City. Through Scotty's own experience around the effects of substance abuse, mental health, and wrongful incarceration, he is committed to the mission and vision of RocWitMe Inc. Scotty is now in recovery and is a certified recovery peer advocate, recovery coach, working in an emergency room in Brooklyn. He uses his past experiences and community resources to help people begin the road to recovery. Amen. He is committed to raising awareness around substance abuse, use, mental health, depression, suicide, and bullying, providing support and resources to strengthen families and communities to thrive. All he asks to just rock with us to help individuals and communities to reach their full potential.
Amen.
All right.
Thank y'all for inviting me, man. Because you know, where I come from, they wasn't inviting me to a lot of places.
You too.
So he explained and she explained a lot of things that, you know, what I'm about. You know, I am the CEO and the founder of a nonprofit organization, and my mission is to educate and bring awareness to issues that we struggle with in our communities. For me, I used drugs for 30 years. I smoked crack, I did heroin, I did every drug that it was. My drug, at the end, my drug of choice was whatever you got. You know, I probably would have took a birth control pill if I felt like it. That's how bad it got for me, man. The disease of addiction took over my life at a young age. You know, I've been arrested 76 times. I've been to prison 8 times. I've been charged with first-degree murder, armed robberies, and I was weeks away from a death penalty case before I was exonerated from that case. But none of that stuff changed my life. You know, I knew how to live in prison, but I didn't know how to live on the street. I can go to jail and help my mother pay a bill from the penitentiary, but I couldn't come out here and work for minimum wage because I just couldn't do it. For one, I suffer from the disease of addiction. Addiction took over my life, and whatever drugs told me to do, I did. If it told me not to eat, I didn't eat. If it told me not to sleep, I didn't sleep. If it told me not to wash, I didn't wash. You know, and I lived a rough life for a long time, but I put myself in that situation. So it was up to me to get myself out of that situation. You know, I'm from North Carolina. You know, I'm the youngest of 4. I'm the baby of the bunch. And I lived a rough life, but I created that for myself. So it was up to me to get myself out of that. You know, like I said, I've been arrested 76 times. I've been in prison 8 times. And I was all right with that, you know, because that's the only thing I knew. I didn't know it was another way, right? And for me, you know, I'm here. My purpose is to give out hope. And for me, hope means hold on, pain ends. We ain't gonna always be struggling. We all gonna be suffering, you know. No matter how long we travel in the wrong direction, we can always turn around and go back the other way. It took me a while to get here, you know, and I ain't do it by myself. I don't wanna stand up here and say, I did it by myself, you know. Now I know all the I used to say I had bad luck or I was a bad criminal. I've been arrested 76 times. But that was God doing for me what I couldn't do with myself. He was saving me from me. You know, because it was up to me, I would have been dead a long time ago, man. You know, whatever drugs told me to do, I did. You know, I stole from everybody in my family because I didn't want nobody to feel left out. But that was a reality, man. I stole from my mom, my brothers, my sisters, my cousins, and everybody else, you know, because I used, and I had to use. You know, I've been shot, you know, because I used to like to rob drug dealers, right? And it wasn't because I was no tough guy, I was no thug. It was because I was desperate. And I would put my life on the line, all your life on the line, just for one more. And one day I got shot, and instead of me going into the emergency room, I drove around the parking lot of the emergency room because I still had drugs in my pocket, right? And I was more afraid of them taking my drugs than me living at that time. So my desire to use was more powerful than my desire to live at that time, right?
Wow.
And so I used all the drugs in my pocket. And then I went into the emergency room, but I was too high to tell them who I was. I couldn't stay awake. So my brother came in and he explained who I was I allergic to any medicines? So they said, this was 1997, 98. They told me we don't want him to put him to sleep and take the bullets out of him because he might not wake up. So they told me they was gonna clean the wounds up. You know, stay off your legs. I got shot all the way up my legs and hip and all of that. Stay off your legs and come back at the end of the week and we will operate on and take the bullets out.
Wow.
That was 1998, it's 2020. I never went back to the hospital.
Oh, come on now.
Because anything, like I told you, I fell in love with something that didn't have no arms and legs and wasn't capable of loving me back. I fell in love with drugs and whatever came in between me using, I didn't do it. You know, so going back to the hospital it took up too much time for me using. So I threw my crutches down 2 hours later at the hospital, put on a big shoe, and I went back to doing what I did. Use. That's all I knew. You know, and that's how I lived, and I was all right with that. I had already accepted death. I knew I was gonna die, but I just didn't know how. I couldn't accept life because I ain't never lived it. You know, I just existed. I ain't living. So for me to change my life, I had to admit that my life was screwed up because everybody around me knew my life was screwed up except me. I thought I was all right for a long time, and I really wasn't. You know, when my life started to change, how I got there, I was broken. I was spiritually broken, and I wanted to improve my spiritual condition. You know, I was mentally exhausted, I was physically exhausted, and I was spiritually broken. And I needed to come out that dark place. It was like I opened the closet and closed the door and cut the light out and stayed in there for 30 years in a dark place, right? And I put myself there, so it was up to me to cut the light on and open the door and step out in the light. But it wasn't hard because I only knew the darkness. That's all I knew, and I accepted the darkness. But for my life to change, I had to be able to get courageous enough to ask for help. Because, you know, I pretended to be a thug and a gangster all my life because I didn't want nobody to know I had low self-esteem. I was insecurity. So if you would have got close to me, you would have found those things out. So I had to keep you away, so I pretended. You know, I was an actor all my life because I didn't want you to know who I really was. You know, so, and that's how, you know, I lived for a long time in somebody else's life, not mine. But that ain't who I was. That ain't who God intended for me to be. You know, but it took me a while to understand what my life was. I'll be 50 years old next month, right? And I started smoking weed at 10. I started sniffing coke at 15. I started doing heroin and smoking crack at 17 years old. And I was in and out of the penitentiary for all those years. You know, they charged me with first-degree murder, and I was weeks away from a death penalty case. They offered me a plea bargain for life sentence with no possibility of parole. And if I would have took that, you know, even though, you know, sometimes we feel like that's the best option. Because all my life, I took plea bargains, you know. Yeah, give me that. But, you know, in my spirit, I couldn't take that. So I had to take that. I had to take a chance of going to trial for my life, you know. And they started picking a juror, you know, and it was a Monday, and they started picking the juror. They got to Friday, they had 6. So next week they was gonna pick the other 6. And the next following week they was gonna start the trial. But the first week, that Friday, I got out, right? And they came in the cell and they said, you know, you going home. But I didn't believe that, you know. They gonna started picking jurors and so I was like, I wouldn't come out the cell for like 2 hours, and I was free. All my charges had been dismissed, but I didn't believe them, man. You know, I was mentally already ready to go to trial, and I wouldn't come out the cell, man. I stayed in there 2 hours, but what got me out the cell? It was this older lady. She was a officer, and she used to come late at night, like 3 o'clock in the morning. She used to read me the Bible every night. And she used to bring me home cooked meals from the streets. But she used to read the Bible to me every night. You know, when everybody in the cell sleep, she would come in there and read the Bible. I would stand in the bars and she would read the Bible and explain the Bible to me. And she came in and she said, I know it's a lot, you know, but sit down. And I sat down. She said, all your charges have been dismissed. You're going home. And you know, it was overwhelming. It was overwhelming. I started crying and I was shaking. And you know, and it still took me about 30 minutes to get my stuff together to get out. Get out. You know, to pack my bags and get out. But the crazy thing about it is, you know, I got out and I started living what I thought was a normal life, and you know, like 6 months later I was locked back up. Cause I went back to doing the same thing. That's all I knew. And you know, I had a false image. You know, I was living I wore all these masks for so long, so I pretended. Instead of me taking that as a blessing from God, I took it as I just gave me a murder charge. They really convinced me now. Of course I beat a murder charge. You ain't do it. You know, so, but it wasn't my time to change yet, right? God still had to take me through some other things so I could be able to help people, man. You know, I was on methadone for 5 or 6 years at one program, then 5 or 6 years at another program. And what I do now is I'm a substance abuse peer counselor. I work in a hospital in Brooklyn, and I get the opportunity to help people like me. So when they come in there straight off the stretcher, whether they overdose or whatever it is, alcohol abuse or whatever it is, you know, I advocate for them. You know, I speak up for them. I be a voice for the voiceless and a hope for the hopeless, you know. Yeah. Because when you come into the emergency room, you can see how they treat you different when they find out you got a alcohol or drug problem. But I advocate for them, right? And I had, at the beginning it was rough because I used to see how they used to treat them. And I had already established a relationship with nurses and, you know, doctors and all of them, right? So, you know, one day I just pulled them to the side and I said, you know, like, because they didn't really know my story. You know, they didn't really know 3 years ago that was me, the same person that you're treating like that, right? So I pulled them to the side and I spoke with them and I said, yo, 3 years ago, that would have been me, you treating like that. I said we had established a healthy relationship, bro. We became friends, you know, and but that was me 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and they looked at, you know, and I said, no matter how long a person travels in the wrong direction, at some point, at time, they could turn around and go back the other way. But they got to have people to believe in them. And you can't give up on them, you know what I mean? Yes. And they didn't give up on me, man. You know, now I go home, my mother is 76 years old and she's in the early stages of dementia, you know, and I get the opportunity to help her as much as I can. I get the opportunity to go home, like next Wednesday coming up, I'm flying home just to go see her, just because. You know, I stopped catching cases and I started catching flights. But that's how recovery. I'm in recovery. I talk about recovery a lot because that's my experience. I talk about things that I'm experienced with. I'm experienced with incarceration. I'm experienced with substance abuse. I'm experienced with mental health issues. You know what I mean? I suffer from depression at some point in time in my life. So when I started to change my life, I had to address all those things. I had to address my substance abuse issues. I had to first learn how to put the drugs down. Right? That's right. So when I put the drugs down, I had to go talk to a therapist, you know, and see. In our community, they made it feel like something was wrong with going and talking to therapists, right? There's nothing wrong with going to get professional help. There's nothing wrong with going to get professional help, right? And that's what I had to do, because that's what worked for me. You know, I make support meetings. You know, I'm a 12-stepper. You know, I make those too, right? But there's some things that I didn't want to share, and I wasn't comfortable in sharing it at the beginning. So I had to do it one-on-one with a therapist. So I had to learn how to put the drugs down. I had to address my mental health issues. Then I had to learn how to improve my spiritual condition. I had to learn how to get a healthy relationship with God, right? And once I learned how to get a healthy relationship with God, it allowed me to learn how to get a healthy relationship with myself.
Yes.
And once I learned to get a healthy relationship with myself, I learned how to get a healthy relationship with other people. Because you never know who God gonna send at you to help you save your life. Sometimes God puts your blessing inside of other people. Right? And if you push everybody away, you might miss your blessing. And everybody got something to give, man. Everybody got something to give. Either you gonna get a blessing or you gonna get a lesson. Right? And if you get a lesson, that's a win. If you get a blessing, that's definitely a win. So you know, everybody got something to offer, man. Don't never push nobody away, man. You never know who God gonna send at you to help you, man. I don't care color, sexual preference, religion, none of that.
There's something for you.
That's right.
You just gotta be smart.
And I don't want to die like that, you know what I mean? I want to die by myself, you know, because drugs isolated me. I always was by myself, you know what I mean? And now I learn how to have healthy relationships. Now I got married since I've been in this process. And I've been with my wife 12 years, but I've been married to her. I've been clean 3 years. I've been with her 12 years, and I've been we've been married since October. You know what I mean? So you know, she been rocking with me, man. You know, and you can't. I didn't want to, you know. I mean, at my lowest, you know, she never gave up on me. You know what I mean? Even my daughters, you know, and my son-in-laws, my grandsons. There's my grandsons out there. And that's my daughter out there, right? When I was caught up in the grips of my addiction, she still allowed me to go pick up my grandkids. From daycare, babysit. So they was believing in me before I was believing in myself. My wife told me she was gonna love me until I learned how to love myself. And that's what she did, man. God has put people in my life. That's amazing, man. Now I got new friends. Look around the room. You put more people in my life to help me, man. You know what I mean? You know, but like I said, I had to. It was a journey to get here, right? And it took me 3 years. I've been clean 3 years, 7 months, and 1 day, right? It took me 3 years, 7 months, and 1 day to get that, right? But it take one bad decision to put me right there. And it's always about people, places, and things. I can't go around the people that I used to hang around with. I can't do the things I used to do. You know, and it's all right because God had replacement, right? And everybody can't go where you're going.
That's right.
Everybody cannot go where you're going. So, and when God trying to take people from you, you gotta let them go, right? Because if you don't let them go, you don't leave room for what he gonna give you, right? And you can't put temporary people in lifetime positions because they don't fit. Right? You can't. They don't fit. So when they move, when God trying to take them away from you, let them go. He gonna give you go. He gonna give it to you in abundance. You understand what I'm saying? So you know, now my passion is being of service to other people. And being of service is a posture of the heart. What comes from the heart reaches the heart, right? So you know, October I did an event. I'm from North Carolina, and everything I try to do here, I try to do in North Carolina because I took a lot out of my community, right? In North Carolina, right? So it's only right that I try to add some value back to it. Right? You know, I did an event. I ain't gonna say my team, my family, my RocWitMe family, we put it together from New York. I did an event for North Carolina, and it was a night of elegance. That's what it was called. It was for mothers who lost their children to senseless violence, right? So I threw an event, and I had 26 mothers come, dress up, get pretty, and we threw them a night of elegance. And they had it was a +1, you know, and they got to let their hair down and let them know we support you, we love you, we hurt when you hurt. And what was so amazing about this, right, is the 25 mothers that were there. I knew all of them. You know, either they went to school, they were my age, and their kids got killed, or either it was somebody that got killed my age and their mother was there, you know. But it was for them. So now I'm gonna make that an annual event, you know. I also did last year, me and my partner right there, that's my media executive right there, my son-in-law DJ, right?
DJ.
Last year we threw an event down south. It was a Black History Month essay contest. So all the kids that wrote a essay, we was gonna pick 2 winners, right? And we was gonna buy them a pair of sneakers, right? But people see when your actions speak louder than words, right?
Amen.
People see the change in you, right? So I put it up on my Facebook page and said we're gonna a Black History Month essay contest and we're gonna buy the winners a pair of sneakers. But people have seen that I have changed. So everybody like, I want to buy a pair.
Wow.
I want to buy a pair.
Oh,
I want to buy a pair. So we raised like $1,000 and we bought like 12 pair of sneakers for the kids. So this year we're doing it again. It's our 2nd annual Black History Month essay contest. So we're taking 20 kids this year, right? But the amazing thing about this, man, and it's in honor of a kid now, right? We put it in honor of one of the kids. Because last year we gave him a pair of sneakers, right? And I sat down and talked to him. He had just turned 18. And he just got out of jail. And we sat down and talked. He was in a gang. He said, I want to get out this gang, man. I don't know how to get out this gang. So we sat down and exchanged numbers. And I said, when I get back to New York, we're going to talk. 2 weeks later, he got murdered. Wow. So, that affected me, man. It made me know, God, I got to go harder. I got to, because it just, he always gonna be a spot in my heart. That little bit of time that I did spend with him, was amazing. And that was, God put him in my life just for that couple of minutes. I needed to meet him. I needed to talk to him for me to carry out my mission. You know what I mean? So this year, it's our 2nd annual Black History Month essay contest in honor of ZJ.
Amen.
And we invited his mother to be a part of it, So we're in the process also trying to start a scholarship fund in honor of his name in my city down there. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna start a scholarship fund for him, for his mother, and eventually the Black History Month essay contest, we're gonna put him in a position where his mother can take over. But we're gonna sponsor it and all that, but we're gonna let her be in control of it. You know what I mean? Because I'm not gonna always be able to go, do all these events, but I'm in the process of doing a lot of things, but it ain't me, it's God. I'm just a vessel for God to be able to reach his people, man. I know. I ain't gonna take no credit for that. God ain't clean me up just for me, man. To be able to help other people, man. And I'm gonna do my best. I left after I had the murder charge. I didn't tell y'all this, right? My life has been like a book, a movie or something, man. I know I'm a miracle, man. When you look up here, you see a miracle. All of us is, because God gave us life today. But because I was robbing drug dealers because I had a habit and I was trying to support my habit, right? So they gave me the murder charge, and God got me through that. And my mother was like, because every time now, I was labeled as armed and dangerous in my city. So everywhere I went, the police would jump out and pull, weapons on me because they figured I had a weapon, And my mother said, you gotta go. So I moved to Atlanta with my sister, and I eventually got a place, and I had a roommate. He was from North Carolina too, and I worked in my other homeboy had a restaurant, to make a long story short. He had a restaurant, I worked in a restaurant, but this particular day, right, we're about to open up, and we opened up at 11:30 every day. I left out at 11:25 because my phone messed up. And I said, I'm gonna run this phone up here to the Sprint store. So I left and went. It took me like 10 minutes. You wanna come out? Oh. It took me like 10 minutes to get back, man. By the time I got back, they done shot everybody in there. So I came back, and one of my friends, it was 3 of us that worked in there. I came back and he was outside, they was working on him. He got shot in the back twice and they stood over and shot him in the face. And my roommate, and I asked the police, I said, where the other guy at? Cause me and him cook, you know, and I'm asking where the other guy. She's like, what other guy? I said, it's another guy working in the kitchen. Can you go see if he in there? You know, and she came right back out and she said, somebody need to call his family. He dead, right? Cause they blew the side of his face off with a 12-gauge shotgun. And we've been working in that restaurant for going on almost 3 years. And that was my first day not in there. That was my first day not in there.
Wow.
It wasn't
It was
that.
God. God said, not now.
Right.
It ain't your time. I need you. I got some work for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so, you know, what that messed me up, I had been off drugs for 5 years. I had started working and got me a bank account. And that day I left Atlanta. I took all my money out the bank and went back to North Carolina and did what I knew. I used. Got in a hotel and stayed in there about 3 weeks. And a lot of guilt was going through me because I felt like if I could have been there, I could have helped him. But if I would have been there, I would have been shot. But at the time, I couldn't, you know, at the time, I didn't want to hear none of that, you know, because I pretended to be a thug and a gangster. So I felt like I could save them. But it wasn't my time.
God knows.
I wasn't supposed to be in there. But I went back to North Carolina and I stayed in the hotel a couple weeks until my money was gone. Then I went back to doing what I knew. I went back to robbing, stealing, and living like I was living before I left. You know, you just pick up where you left off at, especially if you ain't got no kind of recovery process, right? And I ended up back in prison again. And I have been gone 5 years from that time. You know, I thought I was all right, but I wasn't. My story wasn't ending there, you know. So I went back to prison, and then I came back to went back to Atlanta. And my wife, you know, we was she came down from New York at the age of 16 to finish high school, and we met. And after high school, we separate. You know, we went our separate ways. And I was in Atlanta, just 20-something years later, and somehow we got back in contact. She started flying to Georgia to see me, so she said, come to New York and come see my city for 2 weeks or so. 2 weeks turned into 12 years.
Amen. God bless you. God bless you.
So, you know, I'm blessed and I'm thankful and I'm grateful. I got a lot of gratitude. I got a lot of humility. And when I'm talking about humility, I'm not talking about thinking less of myself. It's just today I think of myself less. I put other people before me, man. It ain't just about me.
Yes.
You know, it ain't all about me, but it's about me, but it ain't all about me. You know, so you know, sometimes it's mind-boggling to me when, you know, people ask me to come somewhere and just share my experience, you know, some hope. Because it wasn't, like I said at the beginning, they wasn't asking me to come nowhere. Scotty. But, you know, God has truly blessed me, man, you know, and it just keeps me, I'm living beyond my wildest dreams right now, you know. And I'm not talking about, you know, financially or none of that. It's just my spirit is so full right now. You know, I have been truly blessed, man. You know, and I don't take it for granted. Each day, now I make my clean time count. I count my clean time, but I make my clean time count. You know, I try to be a beacon of hope for somebody else who struggled like I struggled for so long and think it ain't no way out. And I always say, no matter how long, it took me 30-something years to get up here and do this right here. But you know, I couldn't do it for my moms. You know, I couldn't do it for my probation officer, my parole officer. I couldn't do it for my wife, my grandkids. it didn't work till I did it for myself.
Amen.
You know, and I get up every day and I thank God first, right?
Yes.
And I say to myself, today I'm gonna help somebody. Whether it's just a kind word,
That's right.
whether I buy somebody a meal, or whether just a conversation, or just listen to somebody, man. You know, being of service to other people is a passion, and it's a, like I said, it's a posture of the heart. And my heart smiles every time I get to meet somebody new, get to share me with them, you know, and know that I am a miracle. We are miracles.
Yes.
And everybody got something. Everybody, you just got to figure out what's your thing is and tap into it. You know?
Amen.
I know my purpose now. My purpose now is to be of service. Right. You know, I can go on and on talking about, you know, my life. My life, like I said, man, it's I come and speak anytime you want me to come speak, but there's many stuff. You know, I get up here, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna say that and I'm gonna say this, but then I get where I'm going and I'll be like, dang, I didn't say this. I come up here and I be vulnerable though. No matter what story I tell, all of them are real. I just be forgetting so many of them, right? But I come up here and I be vulnerable because growth comes with vulnerability, right? Like if the flowers ain't being vulnerable to the sun, the flower ain't gonna grow, right? So you know, me coming up being vulnerable, being transparent, it's growth for me. You know, it feeds my spirit, it keeps me better with me. You know, so today I don't mind telling on myself. I don't mind telling the truth. You know what I mean? Because I lied for so long. So I just tell the truth today, man. It's simple. I mean, it's easy. Life has just got so easy telling the truth.
It's only you, right? It's only you.
I go back there.
What you know now?
Hey, fit it ain't bit.
So I just want to thank y'all, man, for listening to me.
Thank you for coming.